Hi everybody, thank you for joining me here at Friendship Shavin, where I'm going to be comparing my birthdate American super speed with its British equivalent. Now I have read that the British equivalent is slightly better made and was better plated than the American version. Now I don't know about any of that, but there are some differences and we'll see how they shave. I'm going to be using my 2-band badger brush today, and the soap I'm using is a soap I got a long time ago from Johan at Shave and Butcher, and it is the Nordic Grooming Company Tea Tree and Lime. My mind went blank there for a moment. It's a very nice smelling soap. The blade I'm using, I was looking in my box of blades and I found 2 Willys. Every time. So first of all, let me just show you a couple of differences between the razors. You can see on the American version there is a crimped ring there, and the flare tip stays in place when the barn doors open. Now with the British version, that crimped ring is missing and there is some horizontal knurling around the flare tip, and as I close these doors, the flare tip will drop, and obviously vice versa. As I open the doors, the flare tip lifts up into the handle. The centre bar, while at a cursory glance it looks the same, is in fact higher. Perhaps you can see on the British version. And because of these parts at the end, the head on the British razor is slightly deeper. So there are some little differences in there, but we'll pop a blade in. And we'll see how we go when we get started. I'm going to keep my British razor on the left hand side. I'm not expecting there to be any vast differences, but I thought it would be interesting to try. So let me wipe my face again. And we'll get some of this soap on my face. Oh, this smells really fresh. Tea tree and lime. The tea tree is quite strong in this. I forgot to squeeze my brush out before I went to use it, so my lather is a little bit thin. I've tried to work it out and add a little bit more soap, and we've done okay. But I'm using this 2-band badger brush. I like it and I've not used it much. And I want to really see how this performs when it is well and truly broken in and used. I prefer the feel of this to a 3-band silver tip. So yeah, I think it's time to really use this one a little more often. And it may be that I end up completely preferring a 2-band rather than a 3-band badger. Now we're going to start on the right hand side with my American flare tip. Now I don't think this razor was ever called the flare tip razor by Gillette themselves. You may correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that name simply came about because of the shape of the TTO knob there. I think it was just called a Super Speed by Gillette. And it was introduced as part of the Trinity of razors that they brought out in 1954, produced from 54 to 66, and they brought out the blue tip for a light growth, the regular, which is this one, for a regular growth, and the red tip for a heavy growth. So this one would originally have come in a beige case, it certainly is a terrific razor to shave with. But that trinity of razors was the first time Gillette brought out different razors to suit different growths. For me, this is absolutely lovely. It is a really nice, smooth shave, does a really good job. It suits me down to the ground. It's nice and short, so it's manoeuvrable, gives a great shave. Now let's try the British version. Now common parlance for these seems to be a flare tip rocket. It seems that people seem to call the British version with the knob that goes up and down, the rocket, but again, it was never, to my knowledge, called the rocket by Gillette. That was a different styled British razor. If you've seen my tour, you've seen one in the cabinet. Now, okay, so that was interesting. That seemed to me to be the British version was not as smooth and just a touch more aggressive. Very little in it, but definitely the American version was smoother and more comfortable for me, so that's interesting. First pass. Oh, lovely. I wish I'd wrung my brush out a bit better. You know when you start making a ladder and you think, my goodness, there's a lot of water here. And then I realised what I'd done. But I have been playing around with my lather lately, coming in, trying to get a shiny lather, or as shiny a lather as I can. And I found that if you add, or if I add, too much water, the sheen, I get more volume, but the sheen goes away. So at the moment I'm just playing around a little bit with perhaps a little more soap, a little less water, just to see if I can get a really shiny, slick lather. It's gone a little bit awry today, but nevertheless we've got a very nice lather to shave with. Now, second pass on the American side. Excuse me. Now that is really smooth. There's next to no blade feel in this at all. And I'm just going to take this slow and we'll see which one gives the best result in the end. Now the British razors weren't dated like the American ones, as you know, but we can assume they were of a similar date. And in fact the British one on the underside has got a number 2 written. It's got 2 marks. If I explain it, it looks like the number 11. That's the best way of explaining it. And that is to indicate that it is the medium of the 3 razors. Do you know my spectacles around the frame here? They've got little bashes where I catch it with a razor. Now this, there is definitely a little bit of difference here. We're not talking much at all. There's a little bit more blade feel with the British version. But really it is quite minimal. Now that was quite smooth on the second pass with the British razor, but still the American one was smoother. And I must say that down here, from that very first pass, how can I put it? I haven't got razor burn, that's the wrong word, but I can feel that the razor's blink. I can feel that the razor has been there, whereas on this side just feels absolutely fine. There we are, I've got some lovely slickness with the soap. I would say if I go against the grain, and considering that I've only been shaving with the grain really, I would say that the American version is just tipping it at the moment. Although it's very close to tell, going with the grain. Yeah, I'm going to call it in favour of the American flare tip super speed so far. Let's see how we go on the final pass. So I hope you're doing well today. I'm recording this on a Sunday, so I have just had a very easy day today. My hope is that you have too and you've been able to relax. Do you know, I do like this brush. Oh, soap everywhere. Okay, so here we go. American. Making sure we got the right one. It's got the little crimp ring there. So we're going to go against the grain now. And I'm trying to use the same pressure and everything with this shave. And I'm purposely going properly against the grain there. Let me just swap over and see what that feels like with the British one. Yeah, it definitely feels a little more effective. As if the blade gap is just a little bit bigger perhaps. I know the cases for these are quite rare now. They're made of styrene, so they'll have broken quite easily over the years. And it seems to find a British one with a case really is quite a rarity. I wonder how that is in Canada. And indeed, I wonder if the Canadian version is the same as the American version. That's interesting. I don't know if you can hear. It seems to me that the British razor is making more noise as it takes the hair off. There we are. That is my shave. Let's wet the face and we'll see which one is the winner. Well, do you know, on my cheeks they are pretty much identical, very smooth, each cheek. On my neck, it seems that the American one suits me better. I've had a very good shave with both, but my neck on this side isn't quite as good. Now that could be that I'm not left-handed, I am right-handed, so bear that in mind. I definitely feel down this side of my neck as if I've dragged a razor over my skin, whereas this side I've got nothing at all. It feels just alright, you know. And I would say that while the British razor felt more aggressive, perhaps had a little bit more blade feel, the American version, for me, on this one comparison, it's the first time I've ever compared them, the American version seemed to be much smoother. No, not much smoother. Seemed to be a little bit smoother. To say much smoother would be going too far because there is not that much difference between them. But that British version with the flare tip knob that disappears is definitely a touch more aggressive. I can definitely feel it now here. Interesting. Today I'm just going to be using my Parasso Green. Will go very well with the tea tree and lime. So I'm going to be trying to think of a name for this video that doesn't include the word willies or doesn't include the word knobs. We may or may not be successful. Thank you for joining me. You take care of yourselves. Have a great day now. Bye bye.